Jacoby Brissett is your Week 1 starter against the Cincinnati Bengals. Whee! Yay! Ooh, how exciting. It's Jacoby Brissett. But I do think that there's some interesting parts of that quick little press conference and how this whole thing went down. Because first, of course, reported by Adam Schefter, and then they have this impromptu press conference. But I think we all knew it was going to end up being Jacoby Brissett. The signs were pointing at Jacoby Brissett. But, part of what he said there, and by the way, no Mike today. Felger out, Mazz at his normal spot. Matt McCarthy in my normal spot. It's Big Jim here in the A-hole chair. Boys,
good
hello.
You?
Part of what he said there, what Jerod Mayo said was, we have decided. I have decided. The truth slipped out there for a moment. And look, I don't even have a problem with the decision to start Jacoby Brissett in the whole month of September, looking at what that schedule looks like, with an eye on maybe October 6th as a debut for Drake Maye, after the offensive line hopefully is gelled a little bit and doesn't look as horrific as it did the other night against Washington. But what I have a problem with is how disingenuous this whole thing has been for the better part of a month, and how ownership and management treats their employees and customers as though we're complete idiots. They simply should have made this announcement like 3 weeks ago that Brissett was going to be the starter Week 1, with the caveat that all the players are going to be evaluated on a week-to-week basis so that Drake Maye could start later this season. Instead, we get this disingenuous talk about a competition. For what? The whole thing was just a charade. That's annoying.
Murray, ever see the movie Scent of a Woman?
Years and years ago. All
McCarthy?
Hooah!
It's an old one, right?
I have not seen it.
There's a line in it where Al Pacino says, "What a sham!" That's what this thing is.
Yeah, it really was.
Complete sham from the very beginning. It was a complete sham, to your point. What a freaking joke. What a lie this was from the beginning. And I think Mayo makes himself look bad.
He makes himself look weak.
More than anything, that is my takeaway from the whole thing, is Mayo looked horrible through this whole process.
Yeah.
The whole thing made Mayo look bad. We all knew it was going to end up here. From the very beginning, back in the spring, Mayo told us Jacoby Brissett's my starter right now. He's the most pro-ready, or whatever it was the comment at that time. He's the most prepared quarterback to run a team. He said all that then. We all knew it. All the reports about Drake Maye were it was going to take a while. Nobody realistically expected this kid to be the quarterback in Week 1. The fact that it turned into this kind of stupidity is on the Patriots, and it's on Mayo.
Yeah, it's that. Matt, got a thought?
Yeah, I don't necessarily know how much this is on Jerod Mayo, and I don't want to go down a road of really defending him, because he has come across as wishy-washy. He has come across like he doesn't have complete control of the situation, so he only has himself to blame for that. I do think, though, we just have to consider the factor that this was a business decision by the Patriots to try to sell us on a quarterback competition that, if anybody was paying attention, knew really didn't existed. Is that entirely on Jerod Mayo? Or is that the result of pressure from his bosses, pressure from, I don't know, say Elliott Wolf, pressure from the Crafts to say, we need to sell our fans on the future, on the next big thing, on, essentially you're trying to resell the fans on the brand of the Patriots. Is that entirely on Jerod Mayo? Bad messenger, I get it, so I'm not really trying to defend him. But I wonder if the message kind of had to come from above him on this, because there's so many things. Let's just call it what it is, guys. The Patriots are not interesting with Jacoby Brissett. It is bad for the brand. It is bad for the Flying Elvis. All of this. The good part, the good thing for the Flying Elvis is Drake Maye. Does that come from Jerod Mayo, or does that come from marketing people like the Crafts? I think there are more people to blame in this than just Jerod Mayo.
Yeah, my takeaway is, I'm with you, Mazz. I think Mayo was humiliated by the organization in the last 24 hours or so. Yesterday, they made him go in front of the media to announce that he wasn't going to make an announcement until the next day. And then minutes before he was to make the announcement this morning, the organization leaks the information to their cronies in the national media, and it comes out from Adam Schefter. That, you know what that is? That's Jetsian. That's... it just feels like half-assed and stupid is what it is. And they emasculated their head coach.
It's Mickey Mouse, Murray.
Yeah.
It's Mickey Mouse. The whole thing was Mickey Mouse. There was nobody in control of the situation or commanding the whole situation who was saying this is how it's going to be, independent of whether or not it's collaborative behind the scenes. Mayo needs to project the image of command. He needs to come out and say, listen, this is how it's going to be. I'm not going to answer, there's going to be some sort of authority there. And again, it doesn't have to be combative in tone, despite what I sound like at the moment. But he needs to say, like, and when I say combative, I mean, he needs to get up there and say, listen, this is how it's going to be.
Am I running it or am I not?
Right. And also, and even beyond that part of it, to me, the message to the public has got to be, this is how we're going to do it. So we understand everybody's excited about the young quarterback. Playing quarterback in this league is a tough proposition. We're going to go through the necessary steps to make this thing right so that when he gets in there, it's going to be set up for him to do well. When is that going to be? I don't know. None of us do. That depends on him. That depends on the process. That depends on a million things. Without mentioning Brissett or the team's success, they could have done it in a much more professional, authoritative, and clear manner. Instead, they gave you this laughable competition/dog and pony show that somehow suggested Drake Maye had a chance. Jacoby Brissett himself seemed embarrassed to have to answer questions about this thing because, like, I knew it was going to come out this way the whole time. And his anger is misdirected, or his frustration is misdirected. This thing was a clown show, and I'm talking about the public aspect of it. What was happening behind the scenes? What was he saying to the team? You got me. I hope Mayo was delivering that message to the team. Because to the public, nobody bought it.
No, and it's clear that I don't think they were really ever on the same page. I think Jerod Mayo went into training camp with an open mind about who was going to be the starting quarterback. That's the way he talked about it. But after a few weeks of camp, I think he wanted Maye to be the week one starter. And he had outperformed Jacoby Brissett as this thing had gone along. But, Alex Van Pelt, Elliott Wolf, the Cleveland Mafia, if you will, they never considered it a quarterback competition. Jacoby Brissett was going to be the starting quarterback as soon as they signed him. This was the guy that Van Pelt was the most comfortable with. So they were never on the same page. And I think that they decided, too, and while they may have questions about it, because Maye has outperformed Jacoby Brissett here in recent weeks, and Brissett's apparently been terrible, and he kind of has been, even from what we watched of the preseason, he's going to be put on ice until further notice because they're still suffering from what happened with Mac Jones here. There's like PTSD from how they handled Mac Jones.
Yeah, and there should be a little bit. Like, here's the thing.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Keep an open mind.
Well, right. I mean, Mac Jones ultimately was Mac Jones, and Mac Jones was going to ruin Mac Jones in the end because that's who he was. He didn't have the ability, and he didn't have the, certainly the mental toughness, to handle any type of adversity. The decision isn't bad here, guys. I think all of us agree with the decision. Murray, you agree with the decision. Jacoby Brissett should be the starter.
Yeah, I just hate how it's handled.
Right. I have no problem with Jacoby Brissett being the starter. I'm fine with it. I want to take it slow. You got to fix that offensive line. There's really no problem in being late on the Drake Maye decision, but there is a lot of risk to be early with it. You don't want to ruin the kid early. So I get that. It's the message. The message has been a problem. Everything looks dysfunctional. Who's in charge here? Really? Who's in charge?
Is the thing. So,
where's General Haig? Who's in charge here?
Ultimately, my takeaway is I feel worse about them by the day. And this is further proof of it, how this thing was handled. So I don't think they're going to be good this year. I don't think really anybody does. Maybe 4 or 5 wins tops. Maybe. I hope they exceed my expectations. But if they look this foolish handling the quarterback situation the way that they did over recent weeks and how this went down today, how the hell is it going to look on the field? Like, I think it's going to be worse than I even think.
No, it's not. It's not about the decisions. It's about the presentation of it. I mean, to me,
it's Jetsian.
It's laughable. It is laughable. They look like a clown show, like they're completely disorganized and they don't even know what they're saying half the time. There are some people who wanted Drake Maye to start that are going to be unhappy with the decision and are under the illusion that today was actually a decision. This decision was made months ago.
Right.
Months ago. Not at the start of camp. Months ago. It was made when they drafted the kid. And they're screwing around with how they portray it or how they present it. They look like a clown show. So the whole thing was, to me, is because Matt, I agree with you. I think at the end of the day, the decision's right. That's my opinion. I agree. But the way they went about it.
Oh, it's just so half-assed and dumb.
And
a charade. Again, what was the Al Pacino line? It's not, she's got a great ass. What is it? It's
what a sham.
Yeah, what a sham.
Total. That's exactly what it is. The whole thing was a complete, utter total sham from the very beginning. It was a sham.
Yeah, so how do you feel about that, Patriots fans? You feel even worse about them by the day, like I do? Because, again, they just completely botched this thing. So, again, on the surface, in terms of who's starting, fine. I figured it was going to be Brissett. Brissett was getting all the first-team reps. It was pointing that way. Why did they go through all of this in recent weeks and make it sound like it was a quarterback competition? Because, by the way, we didn't make it up. The coach himself talked about a quarterback competition. So why do that when we all knew it was going to be Brissett to start week 1 in Cincinnati? And so there you go, though.
There is some good news about Jacoby Brissett being the starter.
What's that, Jimmy?
They're going to run the ball a ton. The games might end before 3 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. Oh, get ready. They're going to be very exciting.
Pace of play.
They're still going to run it when they're down 21-3.
Yeah, right. You can't run it the whole time, especially, when you're down 3 scores.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.